All right, folks, welcome back to Guitar Radio Show. Our next guest, this is the one I've been waiting for. I've been when I first started this show 13 years ago. I said, okay, I'm going to make a list of the people I want on the show. This is one of those people. He's got a new record. By the way, hey Rob, welcome back, Rob.
Hi, Mark. Hi, Vernon.
My wonderful
Hey.
co-host. Um, he's got a new record that is just outstanding. We're here to talk about it. We don't have a lot of time, so we're going to jump right into it. Their new record, it comes out, I believe, October 3rd. It's called
October 3rd, yeah.
October 3rd, Hoodoo Telemetry. Please welcome to the show, finally, Mr. Vernon Reid. How are you, sir?
Hey there, how you doing?
All right. So
Yeah,
this record, I mean, it's been a while. When was the last time you did a solo record?
that would be Other True Self, and that would God, what year was that?
It's been a bit.
20. It's been a bit. It's been a while. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
yeah. And I know all those records. I know all your solo records, but I got to say, this is the one where I kind of feel like you painted yourself into a corner. Like, how are you going to top this?
Oh, how you talk.
No, seriously, this is, I mean, the playing, obviously, the sounds, the tones, and the songs that you picked, I think are really
Yeah.
fascinating, and I want to jump into that. Um, the more I listened to this record, I said to myself, I'm hearing a guy play guitar, but he's playing like a saxophonist. Would that be
There's some
appropriate?
definitely yeah, there are definitely influences of you know, people like Pharoah Saunders and Eric Dolphy, and Eddie Harris. I actually play an Eddie Harris tune on the album, and the idea that that guitar can emulate that sound, and it was particularly, the sound of later Coltrane, like Love Supreme, and which is a big influence on Santana, who Santana was a big influence on me when I
Mhm.
was on the come up. I mean, that's kind of the framework. When I was on the come up, it was like, Hendrix going wherever he chose to go, and that was connected to hearing Hendrix. I heard Coltrane the same time I heard Hendrix, and Santana had did Caravanserai, and then hearing, of course, McLaughlin, and then hearing Tommy Bolin, the late great Tommy Bolin, was fabulous on Billy Cobham, the drummer from Mahavishnu, his record Spectrum, and
Right.
all of that, all of those things, and the intertwining with, the various saxophones, then hearing, Ornette Coleman, Albert Ayler, people on the left side of the dial. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The RVR crowd. Remember WRVR?
Ah, you're right on. That was funny because because they used to do live concerts, and they did Tony Williams' Lifetime at the Village Gate, right? And that was Alan Holdsworth. You know what I mean? And and
Right.
that version of Lifetime, I'll never forget that. Yeah, those are
Mhm.
those radio days, man. I tell you, RVR, NEW, um, BLS. The first time I heard Tommy Bolin was Ken Spider Webb. Was a Saturday, right, when they weren't
Mhm.
tied to the normal R&B playlist, and he played Quadrant 4 on a Saturday morning, and it was like the top of my head exploded.
That's insane. See,
Insane. That's
yeah,
insane.
it is insane. Yeah, that's what I loved about radio that in that time period because it was that free form.
Oh,
There were no playlists, there was no demographic. It was like we're gonna play this. I'm gonna play what's in my collection.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
the DJs would bring records of their own to the studio to play.
Oh my God. Yeah, they were auteurs, Vince
Yes.
Scelsa, I
Hmm.
mean Scott Muni. I mean,
Yeah.
these people,
Yeah.
Frankie Crocker. I mean, when I Want to Be Your Lover came out, like Frankie Crocker broke Prince in the New
Hmm.
York market. He played I Want to Be Your Lover like once every half hour when that
Hmm.
record came out. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? He broke Chic, Nile Rodgers and Chic, and
Right.
and he did a thing where he played, oh my God, another one bites the dust. Like he was like, I want to play you bands that are imitating Chic, and he played Queen playing another one bites the dust as a band that was imitating Chic on WBLS. I mean, this is it's like it was an unbelievably free environment at the time.
Yeah, for sure. I remember, I can't remember who the DJ was. It was a late night DJ. The first time I heard Controversy was on NEW.
Oh, oh, it's incredible.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
yeah.
And it was so, hearing like Dark Side of the Moon, they used to play the whole sides
The
of
whole
Dark Side
side.
of the Moon. I
Hmm.
mean, this is the Wild West. I mean, and it was even Steely Dan had a song called FM, right? Because when the
Right.
FM band, because mainly pop music was heard on AM, which is like kind
Hmm.
of scratchy and lo-fi. And when
Hmm.
FM came in with super clean and the compression on FM, it was like hearing music was a whole other experience.
Yeah, it was. It really was. Well, we don't have you that long. I'm going to talk about this record. It comes out
Yeah.
October 3rd.
Yeah.
Are there going to be any live shows around this record?
We have a show that we're going to be doing September 24th at the Blue Note.
Oh.
And I'm gonna, yeah, September 24th at the Blue Note, and I'm gonna have Steve Jenkins, who plays bass, who's a
Hmm.
phenomenal bassist, who
Hmm.
plays bass all over the record. He's gonna come through. Donald McKenzie, who plays drums all over it. Leon Gruenbaum, who's been on all of my records. And is also a member of Burnt Sugar. Ms. Alithia Anglin, I think she's going to be down to do vocals, and so I'm still configuring what the final thing is. Maybe DJ Logic's gonna grace us with a cameo, but I'm looking
Cool.
forward to it.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's great. That's great. I got to ask about one song that honestly is my favorite song on the record. It's Bronx Paradox.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
I love this track. And, I thought about it, and then I thought about there was an article in the New York Times a little bit back about the Bronx, and they called it the Bronx Paradox. Is this related to that?
I was just right. This is kind of like this is my song that's an homage to DJ Logic. But it's funny you mentioned because I thought I was being original. That's what that the New York Times, because that's the whole thing. The Bronx Paradox to me is like this place of, the crime, the devastation, the lack of investment. But, I mean, the last great music of the 20th century was invented in the Bronx. Hip hop, like was invented. And this whole idea of the turntable becoming an instrument, it
Mhm.
starts in this, and that's the place that people were counting the Bronx out. And it turns out that it created, I mean, a multi-billion-dollar, music
Right.
industry. You know what I mean? And so,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
really, it was kind of like my like Miles Davis doing, the song John McLaughlin. It's kind of the Bronx Paradox is kind of my homage to DJ Logic, whom I met. He was in the band I Melvin Gibbs's band I. He's the first DJ who was a regular member of a rock band. Absolutely, of
Wow.
a rock band. He was the
Yeah.
first one. He was 17 when I met him.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a great deal of affection. We have a separate project, the Yohimbi Brothers, but that's what Bronx Paradox. I kind of wrote that kind of for him. And there's a
Hmm.
great. I tell you one thing on that. I must point out the trumpet solo by J.S. Williams.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hey, it's. I mean,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
And JS is now he's a member of Fishbone right now.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, but he's been part of the Burnt Sugar crew. So I felt, I mean, when I listen back to it, I go, holy cow. I mean, it's killing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, man, I
And
love that.
and had just the right amount of reverb and echo on there. And it gave it that
Yeah,
space. It gave it that space
yeah.
between the notes. It was like, oh God, what is
It's
happening?
it's really beautiful. It's
It
really
rolls
beautiful.
right over you. It's great.
Yep, 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 yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Rob, you had what's the tune that's driving you crazy?
So I love the Door to No Return. Was
Yeah.
my favorite.
Oh, the first thing,
I
Door of No
it
Return.
it opens up so strong, that record. I mean, the whole record's great, but I love because it has that super fusiony feel to it. Like I don't want to say
Right.
like Holdsworth vibe, but something in that nature, like that Frank
Well,
Gambale. Like,
yeah, well, Frankie, thank you. You know, it's very much, you know, in a way, you know, I was talking about Pharoah Saunders and thinking about players who influenced me, like Sonny Sharrock and Pete Cozy when Pete Cozy was a month, and of course Alan Holdsworth. And there's a point where I do this kind of repeating phrase near the end of the
mhm.
solo, and
Mhm.
that da 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 da. That's very much a tribute to like a Pharoah Saunders thing. So. You know, thank you. I'm glad you enjoy that. Yeah.
The whole record I love because exactly what you said before. I was telling Mark was when we were talking about the record. I said I hear Hendrix and McLaughlin all over the record, and I thought to myself Santana, but I didn't tell
Oh,
Mark that, and you confirmed everything that I thought.
oh, well, he was the guitar player that the first he was the first guitar player as a fan of music. He was the first one. I said, man, that he reminds me of Dionne Warwick. His sound was so vocal, and turns out that Dionne Warwick is like one of his favorite singers.
Right.
Um, it's funny. The influence is interesting because people think of influence and they confuse influence with imitation, right? But influence is just like, this is interesting to me. I think I want to pursue this, not necessarily that I like. To me, like Prince's phrasing on a guitar is
Hmm.
really, his sound is different. But if you listen to his phrasing is very much like Santana's phrasing. He's got these short, kind of pithy, statements. You know what I mean? That he does, and he turned around, and Prince Live would do Santana tunes, some Santana instrumentals, during his jam things. But
Mhm.
Right.
Carlos has been, he's the patron, he's been a great mentor to me. I feel very fortunate in that I got to meet and play with people who I listened to on the radio. I mean, I was in a band with Jack Bruce. I mean, are
I
you
know.
kidding me? I mean, I remember the first time I heard Sunshine of Your Love, and the fact that the riff, and this is way before me starting to play guitar, but that riff, that sound, that repeating sound, I
Mhm.
mean, that got me in. I love riff rock. Like the current, like one guitar player who I admire so much, Jack White. I said, how does he do it? He
Mhm.
keeps coming up with
Mhm.
these badass riffs.
Mhm.
He's
Right.
yeah, he's one of my favorites.
I couldn't agree more. I'm addicted to the riff. I mean, that's why. I
Oh,
mean, like, I know you just came back from the Back to the Beginning thing, and that must have been like a mind blowing thing.
well, just to hear, I mean, just to be amongst like, such so many amazing musicians, amazing guitar players, and then, the song War Pigs had a massive effect on me. Because everything about it's got a vibe of jazz in it, it's got a vibe of blues,
Yeah.
it's got monster riffs
Yeah.
in it, and it's as anti-war as Dylan's Masters of War,
That's
and
right.
and
It is a protest song.
it is a protest song.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, people don't think of Sabbath, the political dimension. They think of the transgressive, you know what I mean? The witch trials and the
Yeah.
transgressive nature of the band. But
Right.
War Pigs, I mean, War Pigs is a song that let me know you could write. It's one of the great. It's like Machine Gun. War
Yeah.
Pigs is one of the great anti-war songs, and it also let me know you can write about anything and make it work. It's
Hmm.
very impactful for me. So
Yeah.
to hear literally the final version of War Pigs, it's I can't even describe it. The
Yeah.
people singing all the words, the love, the waves of pure love that
Hmm.
they radiated toward the Black Throne.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, I couldn't agree more. I strapped in. I bought that stream. I sat there for the entire 8 hours. I never got up except to pee. It was amazing. It was outstanding.
Yeah,
It
man.
was the best. It really was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I got to ask you about meditation on the last time I saw Arthur Rames.
Yeah.
Okay, so is this a Is this like a return to the decoding society? Is that what we're looking at here?
Well, I'll tell you, it's a meditation on the last time I saw Arthur Rames. Arthur Rames, I speak of him. He was a musician from Brooklyn. He was a multi-instrumentalist. He played guitar, he played saxophone, he played piano. He's the greatest musician I've ever seen. And and that's a lot. I mean, he played like Coltrane. I mean, he played like McCoy Tyner. He played the first time I heard him play guitar, he played like a hyper Johnny Winter. Then the next time I heard him play, he had absorbed all of like McLaughlin's language. And then the next time he started doing stuff like he would play over the neck and under the neck the exact same way. I mean, I
Huh.
heard him before I heard Alan Holdsworth, because he would play things. I said, what the hell is that? And then when I heard Alan Holmes, and I said, "Oh, that's kind of like what Arthur was starting to play." He just was a savant is what I would say. And unfortunately, he passed away. Like really, really, it's so. I mean, the thing about Arthur Raines is that he was a triumph, and his life was a triumph, and him passing so young was and really unsung was just it would told me how unfair life is. Life is basically an unfair proposition that we all have to negotiate the best we can.
Mhm.
And I saw Arthur in the hospital. One of my dear friends, Andre LaSalle, he was the one who taught me how to play Little Wing for real. He's a great guitar player and a bosom buddy. He had, myself, my first wife, we all went to see him, and Arthur said something. I brought him a guitar, and he said, Vernon, when I get out of here, I think my focus is going to be on blues because this situation has given me a new insight into human suffering. And and that's basically this kind of freeform kind of blues thing was really, really about that last thing he said to me. And
Mhm.
and this was like when, the AIDS situation was, like people were ashamed. There was a lot of hidden stuff, and it really definitely talk about New York, like what it did, to so many creative people. Um, it had a devastating effect on the culture, across the country. But as a creative artist, you know, like what it did with like losing Keith Haring, you know,
Yeah.
um, and so many wonderful creative people, and Arthur was for me the most devastating loss of that situation. So yeah, that's the impetus behind that tune.
It's fantastic. It's one of those tracks, and I love when music does this to me. It's one of those tracks when I go back and I listen to it, I go, "Oh, I didn't hear that the last time," and then I
Right.
say, "I got to go listen to it again now."
Right.
you know, and it keeps happening. It's like peeling an onion, you know, all those layers.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Yeah, it was this record. I'm kind of all it's a crazy, it's a record that's all over the place. And but there's a feeling, there's a vibe, you know through all of it that I think hold together.
I think on your first listen, you don't initially get the ebb and flow. But if you listen to it a second time, all of a sudden you start to say, "Oh, I see how these dots are connected." And
Right.
that kind of makes sense to me. I thought it was super cool that you did a white trash tune. You did
Oh.
That is so cool. And the solo, damn,
Oh.
so good. So good.
Oh
It's
man.
such a great version.
It's well, it's one of my, that I mean, what can you say? Edgar Winter, one of the primary musicians of the 70s. Him and his brother, I mean, the Winter brothers. I mean, what do you, I mean,
Yeah.
for both brothers to be iconic in the way that they are,
Yeah.
is really something. And Dying to Live is, it struck me very early on as such a powerful song about coping and living your life and dealing with the adversity, the things that people put on you, and the way people try to present themselves, and really trying to get to what's real. And I was Misha Fambro, who sang that song. I mean, I had recorded that a while back, and it was one of those tunes that I had resurrected. And part of the reason why I wanted to do was because Misha was a badass lefty guitar player, and he had also left us, a while back. And I was like, I talked to his daughter, and his daughter was super excited about it. That her father's voice is going to be on this record, and he sings his ass off on it. And
Yeah.
one of the funny things about that tune is that when DJ Logic's on it, right? So there are these whale noises. Like, I would never script Jason when we would do things. I would just say, hey, man, just find something wet. So he put these kind of whale noises in this tune, and I was
Right.
like, what? you know, but then at one point, working with Scott Harding, we did a mix of it and he took the whale noises out. I said, man, you got to put the whale noises back in. The
Yeah.
whale, like I mean, weirdly enough, the sound of the whale singing really connects in a non-linear way to Dying to Live. Like this underlayer about it's like, and it wasn't like something I dictated, but hearing it, it's like, oh, there's a conversation about extinction that's kind of embedded, and the mournful sound
Hmm.
goes along with the rest of the movement of the song. And
Hmm.
and when I took it out, I missed it. I said, you got to put the whales back in.
That's great. Well, I know we're running out of time. I can't let you go without us asking you a couple of gear questions because we're complete nerds
Sure.
when it comes to that
Yeah.
stuff. So go ahead, Rob. You start.
Okay, Vernon. On this album, is it like profiles or real amps being used, or is
It's
it a
real.
mix?
It's it's a it is a mix, but they're real amps, right?
Mhm.
And also my co-producer Ivan Julian, I got to give him a shout out because Ivan Julian is an icon in his own right in the punk scene. He played with Richard Hell and the Voidoids, and then he's a
Okay.
badass guitar player, and he became a phenomenal engineer. And he's got like all these, at Super Giraffe Sound, he had like all of these really old, like kind of these amps, these like kind of oh my God, he had like old Gibson amps, really old Fender amps. So it's really all over the place. Um, there's some things I think I used my Laney. I have a Laney Ironheart,
Okay.
and I've been using Helix. I like the Helix platform,
Right.
and all the platforms. People argue, they go back and forth, whatever. I mean, all of them. I mean, they're so complex, and there's so many layers and levels of workarounds that you can do that it's pretty much if you like this modeled rectifier versus that modeled one, then you
Mhm.
take your pick. Take your pick. I used a little bit of Kemper. So also, one thing you have to know, like this record was done over a long period of time.
Right.
So like there are things I did a while back, and I go, oh yeah, I plugged into, I was using the Rectos then. I used the Laney on this. I plugged into this little Gibson thingamabob, and
Right.
yeah, so that's all kind of what went on. That's all kind
That,
of what went on. Yeah, one of the things that was great about what happened with Line 6 is that they have this because there's a whole IR thing. And with the IRs, once they've been captured, they're kind of static. It's like whatever the mic placement
Mhm.
was, that's it. And one of the things that they did at a certain firmware, I think 2.8, they started to do this thing where they had like IRs that you can move the mic around,
yeah, yeah.
Right.
which is
Right.
which is like it's actually not modeled cabinets. It's actually like these these RR, which how they work that out is like, well, I guess that must be also like Yamaha, but
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, but
Yeah,
yeah, I'm a big fan of what they do.
that's cool.
Vernon, which
Yeah.
guitars made it to the record?
So I'll tell you what.
Did this
Speaking
one
of, there are
did this one make it to the
you
record?
the Coke 86. Did the
Yeah,
Coke 86 make it on? That's on
number
one. That's
10.
on one. You have number 10.
I
Wow,
got
I have
number
number.
10.
I have number. What do I have? I gotta look at the serial. You would think that I have. You would think that I have number 000, but that's like a complicated. That's I had a friend. It's a long story. I got back my Malcolm X, Hamer, I did a thing with someone, a person I love. He's in law enforcement, great guy, guitar collector, and he put it in a case. And I was like, one day I said, "Hey man, I was thinking, what could I trade? What could I da da da?" And then we talked about it, and then we did a series of trades. He had a Colt 86 with a slightly. Wait, you have 10?
I have number 10.
Hold up. Wait a second. Hold on. Okay. What the hell? Oh, I think this is. I can't see it. Hold on. One second. I'm gonna tell you 1 second.
Yep.
Where's that serial number? One. See, you have 10,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought that I had. Oh, no, I have 21.
Now, how the hell does that happen?
Right.
Because it's a long, convoluted story, and it
And we're out of time.
involved. We're out of time, but it worked out.
Well, Vernon, if you
Yeah,
want number 10, I'll trade you for 21.
we'll talk. So anyway, man. Hamer's made it. Obviously, my new Reverend Talisman. My Reverend
Yeah, it's an awesome guitar.
series. Yeah, it's a really good guitar.
Yeah.
And it's my Stephen McSwain, the Tuskegee made it on there. And PRS and PRS. I definitely did the PRS signature. I think the one thing that maybe didn't make it on there. I'm trying to remember if I go back. I'm sure I used Parker, one of my Parkers. So like pretty much almost everything from the time Hamers, but a lot of the later work has been done with Reverend. I gotta
So
go. You guys,
I
you
know
guys
you
are
do.
great.
I know you do.
Okay.
Man, thank you so much for doing this. We really appreciate it.
Oh man, I
Thank
really
you.
enjoyed the conversation. All right, guys.
Absolutely. All right. Peace. See
Have a
you.
good day.
Bye for now. Have a great
Take care.
weekend.
You
You
too.
too.
Bye-bye.
Now.
All right. That was Vernon Reid. That was super cool. I mean, only getting a half hour, but we actually we got more like 34 minutes. So that was super cool.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was really a blast. I want to thank everybody who was involved. Steve Karras, thank you so much for arranging this. Everybody at Mascot. And the record comes out on October 3rd. It's called Hoodoo Telemetry. Whether you're a fan of Living Color or not, this is a great record from a guitar standpoint, from a guitarist standpoint, from a musician standpoint, from an artistic expression standpoint. This is a brilliant record. It really, really is good.
Mark, I want to take a second to thank you for letting me join in today, as
Absolutely.
Vernon Reid is one of my biggest heroes. So I was getting a little fanboyish. So.
It's totally cool. It's I feel it. I understand it. I get it. These are great people. These are, these are people that inspire us to do what we do. So it's super cool.
And the record is really good, so everybody should go out and buy it. And
Yeah.
stream it.
Yeah.
And-
Buy it, then stream the shit out of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Without a doubt. All right. Hey, I'm going to get going. You got to get going. Have a great gig tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we'll see you all on the next episode of Guitar Radio Show.
So long.
Peace.